What is going on, Lake Pro Tackle fam? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Thank you for clicking on this video. This here is the brand new Spearpoint Hooks Croaker Choker replacement hook for frogs. Now, frog fishing can be a lot of fun, but it can be very difficult at times getting a really good hook in those fish, making sure they stay pinned and getting them on the bank, in the boat, in the kayak. Doesn't matter. You know, a lot of things can go wrong, especially with most frog hooks, where, you know, if you think about it, this is like a 2x hook here, and the amount of power you normally put into just a single hook, you almost have to double it, almost triple it, just based purely off of friction and how the angles are working with these frog hooks. So Spearpoint, of course, with their V-grip technology, have done extremely well, not only for me, but a lot of our customers and people around the country, as well as around the world, keeping fish pinned with the V-grip on their hooks here. Of course, it was only a matter of time before they came out with the frog hook, and I've already seen some prototypes for the treble hook. So this is going to be kind of not a review in the sense, but more of a how-to on how to replace your frog hooks with these upgraded Croaker Choker here from Spearpoint. These are in the 4/0 size, so these probably won't fit something like your Cara frog or any BFS frog, but when it comes to something like a Swamp Lord or something like a bronze-eye popping frog, this will get the job done. So I already kind of filmed a little portion earlier that did it the hard way. We're going to start with the easy way of doing this. So, of course, I've got just a simple tool, a little X-Acto knife, maybe a little cutter here, and I've got my frog. I've got some monofilament. You can use braided line. It doesn't really matter as long as you tie a good knot and your line is pretty strong. So here, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to tie just a simple, really good clinch knot. This is 20-pound monofilament. It doesn't have to be braid. It could be braid though, but the key to this is just make sure it's a good knot and something that's pretty thin. You don't want to tie like a double San Diego jam or anything like that, because this is going to allow us to pull the hook back into position here. So now that I have this line tied on, we're able to take the hook out. One thing that I have an issue with a lot of the bronze eyes is that even though the frogs are extremely durable, a lot of the time the hookup ratio can be absolutely atrocious. So hopefully we're going to be fixing some of that today by upgrading these hooks. And be on the lookout. We might do a demo package where you get some pre-rigged frogs, this bronze eye, get a pack of the Croaker Choker here, and then a Swamp Lord possibly. So be on the lookout for that if I do a good enough job. So first things first, I'm going to flip the hook over, and I'm going to pull straight out. Should come straight out. If you've got pliers or you want to use pliers and not hook yourself, by all means, you can do that. But very simply, that frog is still attached through the line here, and I've got that line still attached here. So to upgrade this, all you have to do, all frogs basically come with a welded ring that allows a little movement, better landing ratio. All you're going to do is pull that off the original hook, and using the line that you have tied on, you can kind of pull down while separating these hook points here. And you're going to grab your replacement hook, put that ring back on, and a lot of the times gravity will do this part for you, where you just kind of shake it down and then pull just a little bit right there, and boom. Very simple to replace the hook itself. Now what I'm going to do is since we're pulling it back through the frog, I'm going to trim my tag end really close. But as you can see there, just like the original, it's free swinging, has a lot of room, and definitely an upgrade from what we had. So there we go, everything's set, and all we're going to do now is try not to hook other stuff. We're going to pull that frog hook back through utilizing this monofilament, so it helps to kind of push it in the back just a hair, get it snug, and then really give it just a careful yank in there. I like to kind of have my hands set like this to where that hook's not going to poke me really bad. But here we go, real quick, just nice and easy. And then now that the hook is seated in there and it won't actually hit me, I'm going to pull the final piece of that eyelet through the frog. And we're set up just like we were. You now have your replacement hook sticking out through the back, and you're ready to just flip it over. So just like normal, how you just fix your frog up anyway, right there. And, you know, depending on how you're fishing, where you're fishing, of course, you can have the frogs one way or the other. I'm going to pull this all the way through, seed that frog back there. And I typically will leave the frogs a little bit, frog legs a little bit wider. Of course, you can always split them down the middle, whatever your preference is here. So that right there is your frog with an upgraded Spearpoint hook, the Croaker choker. Everything seems to be good in order here. You know, we didn't puncture or crack any of the space on the bottom. Same thing on the top. Very, very clean. And one of the biggest things, again, with these hooks for hookup ratio, you know, sitting straight flat, these hook points are actually pointed slightly up. So it's going to still be weedless on something flat like this, like the bronze-eye. It might be sticking up just a hair above the bait, which makes it amazing for working through and getting a good hook in those fish. I guess the only counter to that would be, yes, if your frog does land upside down, you might snag a couple weeds here and there. But overall, check that out. That is absolutely slick right on there. I mean, my finger catches it slightly going over the top, but that means your hookup ratio is going to be insane. All right, y'all. So if you do happen to mess up and pull your frog hook out without pulling any line through or anything, this is probably the easiest way to get the line back through to make your life a million times simpler. So all you're going to do is stick that same hook that you took off. You're going to put it through the nose, out the belly, tie a simple little noose knot, clinch knot, and you're basically going to attach that right behind the barb, and you're going to cinch it down, and you're just going to pull the hook straight out. Might be just a little difficult because there is a barb, but your line is now attached through. So now you don't have to worry about trying to stick this little welded ring in there and doing all that. I'm going to make it easy on you. So we're going to do that same thing that we did for the bronze-eye, and we're going to tie the replacement hook on. I already switched over the eyelet. I'm going to tie a simple clinch knot, just double it over itself, wrap it around 3-4 times, and cinch her down. Again, this is 20-pound monofilament, so it is pretty thick and really strong, and that's what matters. So here we go. Oop, drop her down, pop it in. I'm going to flip that hook over so I don't whack myself, and right about there. Very nice, very good. And again, that one thing with that bronze-eye, it is hookup ratio wise going to be really good, not the most weedless. But the Swamp Lord, let me tell you what, this is probably one of the best fitting hooks that I've seen to almost any frog. I know the Spearpoint guys, Art, Eric, they love doing a lot of collaboration stuff with the Boom Boom frogs, as well as some of the American Baitworks launch frogs. Those seem to be working extremely well. Tell you what, the Swamp Lord is going to be extremely, extremely weedless, but when you do press down on it, I mean, that is a killer, absolutely killer hookup ratio right there. Tons of room, and the hook points already are sitting upwards, so you don't have to worry about that. In terms of the V-grip and how it's actually still holding them, it's doing the same thing. It's creating that little ledge, popping those hooks up, and going to be driving it back down into the fish. But, you know, you can always mess with the hooks just a little bit, whether you bend them up, bend them down. Tell you what, right now, this guy right here, bronze-eye pop 60, as well as the Swamp Lord, have been upgraded right there with the Croaker choker from Spearpoint. I will do a demo package on this. So we're going to do, I'm going to stick all the hooks in here. So you've got one extra replacement hook. You're going to get the hook out of the bronze-eye, and you're going to get the hook out of the Swamp Lord, all in there, all together. stick that in there, and I guess I'm going to have to include some packaging as well. So you've got a Swamp Lord coming your way, you've got your Bronzeye coming your way, you've got the pack of these right here, like I just mentioned, and yeah, that is that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video here. Of course, if you enjoyed it or you learned anything, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't already, and be on the lookout, y'all. Demo package, upgraded frogs, Spearpoint Croaker Choker. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time at Lake Pro Tackle. See you guys.